The unseen predator, Samuel Little, one of the deadliest serial killers in U.S. history, active from 1970 to 2005. Hi guys, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's free and it would help me a lot. Thank you and enjoy the video. The story of Samuel Little, a forensic and psychological perspective. Introduction. The unseen predator. Samuel Little, a drifter and former boxer, operated in the shadows of American society for over 3 decades, confessing to 93 murders, with the FBI confirming at least 60, mostly women of color, many of whom were sex workers or drug users. His ability to evade detection for so long stemmed from targeting marginalized victims, exploiting systemic biases in law enforcement, and leaving minimal forensic traces. As a forensic scientist, I'll dissect the evidence that finally brought him to justice. As a forensic psychologist, I'll explore the mind that drove his relentless killing spree. The crimes, a forensic scientist's analysis. Little's murders spanned from 1970 to 2005 across at least 19 states, with confirmed killings in states like California, Ohio, Texas, and Florida. His victims, predominantly African-American women, were often vulnerable, sex workers, addicts, or transients, whose disappearances were less likely to be thoroughly investigated. The forensic evidence in many cases was sparse, reflecting both Little's methods and the era's limitations. Modus operandi and crime scene characteristics. Little typically lured victims with promises of money or drugs, exploiting their socioeconomic vulnerabilities. He killed primarily through strangulation, often manual or ligature, which left minimal physical evidence compared to shootings or stabbings. Strangulation requires no weapon, reducing the risk of leaving tools or ballistic traces. Crime scenes were often transient locations, alleys, vacant lots, or remote areas where bodies were dumped, delaying discovery and degrading evidence like fingerprints or biological traces due to environmental exposure. For example, in the 1987 murder of Mary Ann Jenkins in Los Angeles, her body was found in an alley, partially decomposed, with no immediate forensic links to Little. The lack of semen or other fluids, as Little rarely engaged in sexual assault post-mortem, limited DNA evidence. Similarly, the 1994 murder of Denise Christie brothers in Odessa, Texas, showed ligature marks but no recoverable fingerprints, a hallmark of Little's careful disposal methods. Forensic challenges. In the 1970s, 1990s, forensic technology was rudimentary compared to today. DNA profiling wasn't widely used until the late 1980s, and even then, many police departments lacked resources to process cold cases involving marginalized victims. Little's victims were often misclassified as overdoses or accidents, as seen in the 1989 case of Ruby Lee Smith in Cleveland, where her death was initially ruled drug-related. Missing persons reports were rarely filed for his victims, and cross-jurisdictional communication was poor, preventing pattern recognition. This mirrors challenges in the Zodiac Killer case, where fragmented investigations across counties hindered progress. Breakthrough in forensics. Little's capture in 2012 relied on modern forensic advancements. In Los Angeles, DNA evidence from a 1987 cold case, Mary Ann Jenkins, matched Little's profile in the CODIS database collected after a 2012 arrest for drug possession in Kentucky. Cement traces on Jenkins' clothing, preserved despite years in storage, provided the critical link. Additional DNA matches tied him to the murders of Carol Alford, 1987, and Audrey Nelson, 1989. This forensic triumph, unavailable during Little's active years, underscores the importance of evidence preservation and national databases. The Mind of a Killer, a forensic psychologist's profile. As a forensic psychologist, I assess Little's behavior, motivations, and personality to understand why he killed, how he selected victims, and why he evaded capture for so long. Drawing from his confessions, interviews, and behavioral patterns, we can construct a psychological profile. Personality and background. Little, born in 1940 in Georgia, grew up in a turbulent environment raised by a single mother he described as a sex worker. Early arrests for theft, assault, and fraud suggest an antisocial personality disorder, ASPD, characterized by impulsivity, lack of empathy, and disregard for societal norms. His boxing background, a semi-professional career, gave him physical strength and knowledge of chokeholds, which he used to subdue victims. His charisma, noted by investigators, allowed him to manipulate victims into trusting him, akin to Ted Bundy's charm, but less polished. Motivations and psychopathology. Little's confessions reveal a sadistic drive, with killing described as a drug high. Strangulation allowed prolonged control over victims, satisfying a need for power and dominance common in serial killers with sadistic motives. Unlike Jeffrey Dahmer, Little showed no interest in cannibalism. His gratification came from the act of killing itself. His targeting of women of color, often sex workers, suggests both opportunism and a belief that these victims were disposable, less likely to draw police attention, a chillingly accurate assessment given systemic biases. Psychologically, Little fits the profile of an organized serial killer, methodical in victim selection, mobile to avoid detection, and aware of forensic limitations. His lack of remorse, evident in his detailed confessions and chillingly accurate victim sketches, aligns with psychopathy, though he displayed some reflective moments in prison, possibly for attention. Little's psychological savvy allowed him to exploit societal blind spots. By targeting marginalized women, he minimized scrutiny, as police often dismissed their cases. His transient lifestyle prevented local police from connecting cases. His lack of a fixed MO beyond strangulation, e.g. varying disposal sites, made patterns hard to detect pre-DNA era. Additionally, his ability to blend into communities using charm and street knowledge reduced suspicion. The investigation and capture Little's criminal record began in the 1950s, with petty crimes escalating to assaults and attempted rapes by the 1970s. Despite multiple arrests, he served minimal time, often released due to lenient sentencing or lack of evidence, a systemic failure that allowed his spree to continue. By the 2000s, his activity slowed, possibly due to age or health issues. He was 65 by 2005. Turning point 2012. Little's arrest in Louisville, Kentucky for drug possession in September 2012 was pivotal. A routine DNA swab entered into CODIS matched cold cases in Los Angeles. The LAPD's cold case unit, leveraging improved DNA technology, linked him to 3 murders, leading to his 2014 conviction for the killings of Jenkins, Alford, and Nelson. He received 3 life sentences without parole. Confessions and FBI involvement. In 2018, Texas Ranger James Holland, an expert interrogator, built rapport with Little in prison. Little began confessing, providing details of 93 murders, including locations, victim descriptions, and hand-drawn sketches. The FBI's Violent Criminal Apprehension Program, VICAP, verified at least 60, using Little's confessions to match unsolved cases. His memory for details, dates, clothing, even weather, was remarkable, aiding corroboration. For example, he described killing Linda Bennett in 1988 in Florida, confirmed by a previously unsolved case file. His sketches, released publicly, helped families find closure, though some cases remain unverified due to missing records or bodies. Forensic validation. As a forensic scientist, I note the critical role of DNA and corroborative evidence. Beyond the initial DNA matches, Little's confessions led to re-examination of cold cases, with some yielding trace evidence, e.g. fibers, hair, consistent with his accounts. However, many bodies were never recovered, and degradation limited forensic confirmation in older cases. The FBI's 2019-2020 efforts to close cases relied heavily on Little's verbal accounts, a rare instance where a killer's cooperation outpaced physical evidence. Legacy and lessons. Little died in December 2020 in a California prison, aged 80, from health complications. His case exposed systemic flaws in law enforcement, marginalized victims. The neglect of cases involving women of color, sex workers, and transients allowed Little to kill undetected. This mirrors the Zodiac case, where societal indifference to certain victims, e.g. sex workers in the Jack the Ripper case, delayed investigations. Forensic evolution, DNA, and CODIS were game changers, unavailable during Little's early crimes. Modern tools like genetic genealogy could have caught him earlier, emphasizing the need for evidence preservation. Psychological insights. Little's profile, opportunistic, mobile, and manipulative, highlights the need for behavioral analysis in policing. His confessions suggest a need for attention in later years, a trait forensic psychologists can exploit in interrogations. Comparison to Zodiac killer. Unlike the Zodiac, who taunted police with ciphers and sought publicity, Little operated quietly, avoiding media attention. Both exploited investigative gaps, Zodiac with jurisdiction issues, Little with victim marginalization, but Little's higher victim count, 60+ versus Zodiac's 537, reflects his longer active period and societal neglect of his victims. Thank you for watching.